Clinical trials are experiments or observations done in clinical research. Such prospective biomedical or behavioral research studies on human participants are designed to answer specific questions about biomedical or behavioral interventions, including new treatments and known interventions that warrant further study and comparison. Clinical trials generate data on dosage, safety, and efficacy. They are conducted only after they have received health authority, ethics committee approval in the country where approval of the therapy is sought. These authorities are responsible for vetting the risk-benefit ratio of the trial. Their approval does not mean the therapy is safe or effective, only that the trial may be conducted. Depending on product type and development stage, investigators initially enroll volunteers or patients into small pilot studies, and subsequently conduct progressively larger-scale comparative studies. Clinical trials can vary in size and cost, and they can involve a single research center or multiple centers, in one country or in multiple countries. Clinical study design aims to ensure the scientific validity and reproducibility of the results. Costs for clinical trials can range into the billions of dollars per approved drug. The sponsor may be a governmental organization or a pharmaceutical, biotechnology, or medical device company. Certain functions necessary to the trial, such as monitoring and lab work, may be managed by an outsourced partner, such as a contract research organization or a central laboratory. Only 10% of all drugs started in human clinical trials become approved drugs. Some clinical trials involve healthy subjects with no pre-existing medical conditions. Other clinical trials pertain to people with specific health conditions who are willing to try an experimental treatment. Pilot experiments are conducted to gain insights for design of the clinical trial to follow. There are two goals to testing medical treatments: to learn whether they work well enough, called efficacy or effectiveness, and to learn whether they are safe enough, called safety. Neither is an absolute criterion. Both safety and efficacy are evaluated relative to how the treatment is intended to be used, what other treatments are available, and the severity of the disease or condition. The benefits must outweigh the risks. 8. For example, many drugs to treat cancer have severe side effects that would not be acceptable for an over-the-counter pain medication. Yet the cancer drugs have been approved since they are used under a physician's care and are used for a life-threatening condition. In the U.S., the elderly constitute 14% of the population, while they consume over one-third of drugs. People over 55 are often excluded from trials because their greater health issues and drug use complicate data interpretation, and because they have different physiological capacity than younger people. Children and people with unrelated medical conditions are also frequently excluded. Pregnant women are often excluded due to potential risks to the fetus. The sponsor designs the trial in coordination with a panel of expert clinical investigators, including what alternative or existing treatments to compare to the new drug and what type of patients might benefit. If the sponsor cannot obtain enough test subjects at one location, investigators at other locations are recruited to join the study. During the trial, investigators recruit subjects with the predetermined characteristics, administer the treatment, and collect data on the subject's health for a defined time period. Data include measurements such as vital signs, concentration of the study drug in the blood or tissues, changes to symptoms, and whether improvement or worsening of the condition targeted by the study drug occurs. The researchers send the data to the trial sponsor, who then analyzes the pooled data using statistical tests. Examples of clinical trial goals include assessing the safety and relative effectiveness of a medication or device. While most clinical trials test one alternative to the novel intervention, some expand to 3 or 4 and may include a placebo. Except for small, single-location trials, the design and objectives are specified in a document called a clinical trial protocol. The protocol is the trial's operating manual, and ensures all researchers perform the trial in the same way on similar subjects and that the data is comparable across all subjects. As a trial is designed to test hypotheses and rigorously monitor and assess outcomes, it can be seen as an application of the scientific method, specifically the experimental step. The most common clinical trials evaluate new pharmaceutical products, medical devices, biologics, psychological therapies, or other interventions. Clinical trials may be required before a national regulatory authority approves marketing of the innovation. Similarly to drugs, manufacturers of medical